when you highlight a variable over here, then all of these buttons open up, and I'm going to briefly tell you what they do, and then I will demonstrate a few of them. Okay, so if you highlight a component over here, these buttons open up. One of the buttons that you can use is insert variable, and that means that if I put my cursor at a particular point in the document, and then I highlight agreement date and click this button, insert variable, then it will put the variable in at the point where my cursor was. So I'm going to remove that again. And okay, so then the next button down is edit components. So if I click the edit component button, it brings up the variable editor for the component that I've got highlighted. In this case, it's the agreement date. And so then you can do things within the variable editor. You can also delete a component. Now, if you a warning about deleting components: if you have the component on the face of the form, as we do here, so there's our agreement date, and so if I highlight agreement date and click this delete component, then it will remove it from the component file, but over here, because it's used on the document still, what will happen is HotDocs will not be able to assemble the template, and you'll have what's called an unresolved reference, where agreement date is over here, but there's no reference to it in the component file. Therefore, be very cautious about deleting components. Usually, when I'm using the component manager, I only delete components if I've just created the variable and then I decide, okay, well, I don't need it after all, and I haven't used it on the face of the form, so then I can delete it. The next button is the rename components button. This also comes with a warning. If I click on the rename components, then it's going to give me the opportunity to change agreement date to a new name, and I can certainly do that from within the component manager, but what it will do is it will rename agreement date within the component file, but it will not rename it over here on the face of the document. So you would then have to go do a find and replace over here in your Word document in order to change the agreement date references to the new name of the agreement date. Let's see, the next is the duplicate variables button. So if we highlight employee gender there, say we want to have a client gender, and what's really nice is that if you already have a component created that is a good model for another category, so here we've got the employee category, and say we're going to start creating some variables for the client category. So I can highlight employee gender, click this duplicate variables, and that gives me a copy of employee gender, and then I simply change the variable name to client gender and then click OK, and then I have a gender variable for client. Okay, some other features. Here we've got, so if I click off of a component, then I can also create new components from within the component manager. So if I click on new component here, then it gives me the opportunity to select the component type that I want to create, and you'll note that the 6 main variable types are over on the left. These are all component types that you also have the capability of creating from the face of the document. Over here on the right, you have components that you would just create within the component manager and use them within the component manager. And so you would select one of these and click OK, and then you get the variable editor, or the editor for each of these, well, whichever component that you create. Okay, the other button here is there is a find feature. You can click Control F, or you can click these binoculars. And so if I wanted to find the word hourly in all components in the component file, and if I can designate that I want to find whole words only, I can match the case, and I can dictate where I want to look in. So these are the possibilities: display text, things like titles or prompts, merge text patterns and formats, resources, scripts, notes, variable references. And when I click Find, then it's going to list the components that have hourly in them. So if I double click on this computation, you'll see that there's the word hourly used in this script. And full-time also has hourly used in the script. So it found it in the script there. There's also a find and replace in the components feature, where you can select up here what you want to include. You type what you want to find, and you replace it with what you put into this field. And just like the find that we just saw, you can tell HotDocs where to look for what you're trying to find and replace. And then you click Find, and it will go out and it will give you a window very much like the Find and Replace feature in Microsoft Word, where it will prompt you whether you want to actually replace what it's offering to you. Okay, the component manager also has a spell check. So if you click this, then it will allow you to include all components in the component file, and you can also dictate what to check. So if we click OK, then it starts to go find the words that it thinks are misspelled, and then you can ignore all, change, add, suggest, add it to the dictionary, and then as you make a selection here, it will then go to the next word, much like the spelling feature in Microsoft Word. Okay, you can also print your component list, and then there's a Display HotDocs Help button here. Just clicking that will open up HotDocs Help.